A very good afternoon, everyone. Today we will be starting block three, international marketing strategies. In this, we have fundamentally three units. That it is Unit 7, international marketing planning. Second is Unit 8, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And Unit 9, international services marketing. I'm Kolla Krishna Madhavi. And in the block three, what we will be looking at is international marketing strategies and how international marketers design their strategy based on the product life cycle and its significance in marketing plan in an international environment. We also need to study the impact of country's government on international marketing planning, designing and controlling marketing efforts. We'll also be looking in terms of the challenges that marketers face in international markets, the various service providers such as retail, financial services, banking services, and insurance. And also, we'll be covering briefly how it differs from operations in a domestic environment. So, let us first go to Unit 7, that is International Marketing Planning. So, in international marketing planning, the broad objectives are to understand how international marketers design their marketing strategy, which includes product pricing, promotion, and place. It describes the product life cycle and its significance in marketing plan. It also discusses about the competitive international markets and the consumer behavior thereof. We'll also be looking at the impact of country's government on international marketing planning and finally, designing and controlling marketing efforts in international markets. In terms of the unit structure, we'll first be covering the introduction, followed by strategic market planning, pricing strategy, distribution strategy, promotional strategy. We'll also be looking at product life cycle and market life cycle, international product policy, competition and international marketing strategy, consumers, government action, production resources, and planning for third world markets. And finally, we'll be looking at how to control the marketing effort. So let us start today's session with the introduction. So what is marketing function and what does it support? So marketing function supports other business functions. And why is it important? It ensures the success of an organization by providing a detailed analysis of opportunities and offerings, the systematic approach to selling to well-defined market segments. So marketing planning process is concerned with identifying what and to whom sales are to be made in the long term in order to meet sales targets. So two things that we need to understand here is that one, we are looking at long term. Second, we are looking at well-defined market segments where marketing plan applies. Most companies equate planning process with forecasting and budgeting methods. So while these are very, very critical for any business operation, they do not directly help in providing avenues for future growth. So it is marketing planning that actually works on these aspects of growth and expansion. So what happens when we are looking at forecasting and budgeting methods? So there are certain problems that occur in terms of the planning. One is in terms of missed opportunities. Second is setting unrealistic objectives or market information that is not useful in decision making. Numbers in long range plans that convey little information on growth opportunities, management frustration, pricing confusion, and increased vulnerability to environmental change. While these factors are self explanatory, they're also very, very critical in terms of making the marketing plan that much more effective and successful. So, the usefulness and effectiveness of a plan depends upon the quality of information available. And what information do we require? We require information about the business environment. So when you talk in terms of business environment, it is not only the external environment in terms of what factors affect a company extensively, like government policies, consumer behavior, competitor activities, etc. but it also focuses on internal factors, that is within the company, like what is the production like, what kind of products we have, what is the product line and depth, what are our marketing plans and long term strategies, which markets are we trying to enter, what would be our strategy there, are our products premium or medium based. So there are multiple factors that need to be considered. So, research conducted by Cranfield School of Management suggests that the problems faced by British companies are mainly due to inadequacies in this process. And what is this process? The marketing planning process. So, in general, sales targets of sales personnel are inflated to make them achieve higher sales. Likewise, budgets are also deflated to play safe when there is a shortfall in the revenues. Those sales practices seem unnecessary. In fact, these act as demotivators by forcing employees to achieve sometimes unrealistic targets. While this is not necessarily the case always, is seen often enough to be an area of concern. So the companies assume that commercial success is a matter of setting profit targets. So companies believe that decentralizing the firm into groups of similar activities and making managers accountable for profits for those smaller groups will help the organization grow and achieve commercial success. The experiences of many British companies, however, indicate differently. So, what do they do? Where British companies have adopted profit as their sole objective, they have seen that the performance in the long run has been disappointing. Top managers in these companies believe that their primary responsibility is simply to set profit targets. So they leave the task of achieving the targets to middle level managers. Whereas the strategies of a firm should be formulated on the basis of its capabilities. What can it do? How is it different from its competitors? What is it offering of value to the customers? Is the product right for that particular segment of business? And what are the opportunities that are available in the market? So these are important considerations. So financial objectives are good measure of the desired performance of a company, but they do not help in identifying strategies that match the firm's capability with respect to market opportunity. So a number oriented system simply will not allow the company to grow in a structured way. There has to be a strategically relevant market segment process which allows something more than simple collection, analysis, and synthesis of market data. So let us go into strategic marketing planning. So marketing planning is a logical sequence and a series of activities. So it is not one single activity that I take a decision and it closes there. It is a series of activities. There is a logical sequence involved and it is also time consuming. Remember that Rome was not built in a day. Similarly, marketing planning is not built overnight. It has to lead to the setting of marketing objectives and the formulation of plans for achieving them. So, strategic marketing planning needs more of a general management orientation than a functional orientation. That means rather than just having a sales or marketing orientation, it should be a general management orientation encompassing the whole company. The strategic market plan in general comprises of decisions related to defining the businesses, determining the goals and objectives of business, formulating functional strategies, and budgeting. In order to define the business, it's also important to know the purpose of business. Why we are in that business? Why not in some other business? What is it about this business that will help us to capture the maximum market that is possible and be able to take leverage on the opportunities that are available. So product market scope is another consideration for defining the business. Other considerations are technologies, the product market segments, which is our target market, and of course, what is the competitor positioning? How are they positioning themselves in the consumer's eye, and how are we different from that of our market competitors? The performance goals and objectives that are quantifiable and achievable also form the main constituents of a strategic plan. So once some measures of performance such as market share, return on investment, and profit to sales ratio are defined, broad goals and specific objectives are identified for the business. Further, we also need to understand the allocation of human resources as well as the financial resources to support the program developed in the functional plans because both are critical for actual implementation of any strategy. That is the human resources and financial resources. And the final step involves measurement and review of the performance of programs. So, what does research studies indicate? They indicate that companies do not have integrated, coordinated, and internally consistent plan for marketing activity. They fail to capture substantial market share. So, what are the benefits of market planning? There are fourfold. First and foremost, there is an active coordination among individuals in the organization whose actions are interrelated over time. Second is there is an anticipation of future development. There is also a readiness to face changes that occur. And the fourth benefit is that enhanced communication among executives and there is a minimization of conflicts that may arise. Let's first look at pricing strategy. So international pricing decisions, they depend not on just domestic factors, as we all understand by now. There are pricing objectives, the cost, the competition, the customer demand, and the government requirements. And when we talk about government requirements, we need to consider both home government and the host government, that is the country where we are expanding our business. So the total cost is the most important factor in determining the price of a product. The other important factors are the competitors' pricing policies, the company's out of pocket costs, its return on investment policy, and the customer's ability to pay the price that we are trying to charge. So, companies follow two approaches when they are determining the total cost. First is called the cost approach, and second is called the market approach. So, the cost approach is used in computing relevant costs. The desired profit markup is added to relevant cost to identify total cost. So markup, remember this word, the desired profit markup is added to relevant cost to identify total cost. This is the cost approach. So this is very, very popular because it's fundamentally very easy to comprehend and use. I'm adding an X amount of profit markup over my actual cost. So it becomes simple. However, there are two drawbacks with this approach. So, problems arise when we are trying to define and compute total costs, and the problems are related to whether to consider fixed and variable costs together or just variable costs. If fixed costs, like say rents, are included, what fraction of fixed costs are to be included? Because they have to be factored in over a period in time. Also, these are spread across multiple departments or functions in the organization. The other factor to be considered is should costs pertaining to R&D and administrative overheads be included or not in the cost approach. The second approach that we have is called the market approach. The pricing is done in exactly opposite fashion when this approach is followed. So the first acceptable price in the target segment is estimated. This is based on what is the prevailing rate in the market. Then this price is analyzed to see whether it can meet the company's profit objectives. If the price does not allow the company to meet its profit objectives, then alternatives are either A, to reduce the cost or B, to increase the price. So the only two options that we have a market approach if we want to be competitive. That is reducing the cost itself or increasing the price. So in a worst case situation, the company might have to even give up the business, which is not going to be the end objective of any company. So without considering that as an option, what can the company do? So adjustments in the price are made to cope with competitors, host country government demands, and other eventualities. The final price is determined based on the market. This approach is widely used in Japan. A typical firm first examines its likely competitors and their products. Later, it estimates the unit cost to be fixed for entering the market. Then its engineers design the product in order to meet the target cost. So see, it's like a bit like reverse engineering. They're going with the market price and then they're working back to see how they can modify the product in order to meet the target cost. For instance, when Canon wanted to challenge Xerox in early 1980s, it fixed its target price at USD 1000. At that time, Canon was selling its least expensive copier at several thousand US dollars. So if Canon had attempted to reduce the cost of existing models radically by making changes to the existing models, it would have definitely met with failure. So what did it do? Canon engineers decided to reinvent cheaper copiers without compromising on quality. And they found it by using a disposable cartridge in place of the complex image transfer mechanism that they had used previously. So this was technology which will help the company, that is Canon, bring down its price in competition with that of Xerox. The second one that we need to consider after pricing strategy is the distribution strategy. So distribution channels link producers and customers. A firm operating in international markets distributes its products either directly or indirectly. We have covered this extensively in the previous unit. So it distributes directly through a firm or indirectly through an intermediary. An international marketer should not try to change the existing distribution system in the host country because each country has its unique distribution system which gets evolved over a period of time. So, for example, if you're looking at the distribution system in Japan, it is old fashioned, complex. There are also several other factors which hinders its performance overall. So, if you are looking at MNCs operating in Japan, they need not attempt to change the distribution channels radically. But however, they need to make their efforts focused in such a way that they fit into the country's established distribution channels. So the third one that we are going to consider is the promotion strategy. So promotion, what does it mean? Promotion is fundamentally any communication by the firm to its target audience with a view to informing and influencing them. So promotion fundamentally uses communication to do two things, one of two things or both things. That is one, inform, and second is influence. So international promotion is concerned with the management of promotion in different countries. And it is different from domestic promotion because of the means of communication, target audience, and the company goals that are concerned. For example, if I were to cover only local markets, say in Hyderabad, I may have multiple options like I may use, billboards or hoardings. I may use newspapers for printing local ads, things like that. However, if I'm taking the same product internationally, I will need to adopt different methods of promoting my product. So, international promotion principally involves advertising, personal selling, and sales promotion. So, let us look at all three of them: advertising, personal selling, and sales promotion. So, international advertising program faces two sets of constraints. What is that? Internal environment of the company, and second is the international environment. So, promotion in international markets is more difficult than promotion in domestic markets. Uh, the reason is very, very simple to understand. Because of the differences that we may have to face in language, government controls, media availability, economic differences, local distributors, and the availability of an agency for both the distribution and promotion of our services. So, personal selling involves direct personal contact. So whenever human interaction is involved, culture comes into the picture. Now, the what works within our Indian scenario may not work when we are working in, say, in Japanese or UK or US based market. So personal selling is relatively more culture bound than impersonal advertising. Though advertising also of late we have seen requires a lot of local customization in terms of being able to reach a larger set of customers. So different constraints characterize different countries. For example, if you see in Saudi Arabia, it is difficult to find qualified sales representatives owing to the labor shortage and the low status considered of selling profession. However, in India, sales force management is difficult because of differences in languages used, the caste, creed system, the regional bifurcations, etc. Brazil has its own complication because Salesforce compensation is complicated by rampant inflation. So factors like these will make a difference when we are considering promotion as a strategy in different markets. The next one is in terms of product life cycle or market life cycle. So product life cycle, which is abbreviated as PLC, product life cycle analysis, is a valuable tool in the hands of an international marketer. So a typical product goes through four stages at either the national or international level. So what are those four stages? One is introduction, growth, maturity, and finally a decline. So the pattern may vary from product to product and time to time. A product which may be at its peak at one point in time may go into decline over a period of time. One good example that we can consider, though it has been some time, is black and white TV. Now, black and white TVs were occupying the market a lot before the color TV came in, and now we see so many variations of color TV, the HD levels. There are so many, technology inputs that are involved in the TVs that are available, and they have no similarity to the black and white TVs of the past. So definitely we can say that not only have they gone through a decline stage, but they have also gone through an obsolete and finally they have gone out of the market. So this happens from time to time. So it is very, very important to understand the pattern of PLC. So in terms of marketing strategies, we need to understand how to manage profitable products. At the same time, we also need to understand as a company how to eliminate the unprofitable ones. So as a product moves from one stage of its life cycle to another, marketers try to evaluate and adjust strategies for promoting, pricing, and distributing the products. So introduction. In the introduction stage, the product is introduced in the market. So this is a difficult stage because only a few sellers may be present. They may not have the technological know-how. The marketing and other costs are usually high to launch a product. There is a risk attached to launching a new product. So the introduction stage is marked by zero or sometimes negative profits. Or even if there are profits, they may be very negligible. So promotional expenses are at their highest because the company has to make a dent in the new international market. The company needs to inform the customers about the product. Second, it has to induce product trial. And third, it has to secure distribution in retail outlets. So advertising is one of the most effective tools at this stage of product life cycle or PLC. The second stage of PLC is the growth stage. So the introduction stage is followed by the growth stage. So here we are looking at things like a product which has a small incline in terms of the number of sales that are there, and finally it may peak suddenly. This depends on how the product is doing, how the company has priced its product, how much of value add the product has to the new market, what are the competitors offering, how is this product standing in terms of its competitors, multiple factors like that. And more importantly, how customers are perceiving and receiving this product. Are they adopting the product or not? So new firms enter the market in growth stage, attracted by promising opportunities in the market. So companies at this time have to face still an increase in the level of promotional expenditure. And the profit of the firm increases initially because over a period in time, the promotional cost gets spread over a larger volume of sales. And second, the manufacturing cost per unit falls. At a later phase in growth stage, there is also the third stage that we have talked about earlier, that is the maturity stage. Here, the product profits begin to decline because competition increases. Therefore, there is a lowering of prices and there is a heavy spending on promotion to make that much of a higher recall in the minds of the potential buyers. And finally, we have the decline stage. This is where most products end up. That is, they tend to decline with the sale and profits of all products and brands reducing over a period in time. This may be escalated in some instances, or they may be prolonged over a long period as new technology comes or new products come which replaces this existing technology. So the product experiences a faster rate of decline where some experience a slower rate. This could be due to technological advances, increase in competition, shift in consumers' tastes and preferences, etc. So during this stage, the sales of the product falls rapidly, forcing firms to withdraw from the new market that they had entered a while ago. That is the international market. And there is also another consideration, that is the intensity of exit barriers, which influences the capacity of the firms to withdraw to a great extent. So the lower the exit barriers, the easier it is for firms to leave the industry. And then we'll also look in terms of an international product policy. So what does this mean? A marketing manager has to make product decisions in order to arrive at a product mix or product line. What are the different products I'm offering and what is the product line for each product? What are the variations? What are the varieties that I'm offering of a particular product? We'll talk about this in a bit. So product decisions in the context of international marketing means designing the product mix and deciding on the product line in the host country. So if we were to look at, say, Nestle as an example, it has both water and it has chocolates. They are two different product lines. There are multiple product lines that are being offered by Nestle. But considering these two, if we were to consider, so what is the product mix consisting of water, different brands of water, and chocolates. So we are limiting right now for understanding to two product lines. One is water product line, and second is chocolate product line. So by and large, foreign markets are characterized by strong competition. So a careful review is necessary for a product to be made. So what does the manager have to do? They have to pay close attention to factors such as the depth and breadth of the product line, the product innovation, while making product decisions. So the product mix. So if we were to look at an example, let us look at Hindustan Unilever Limited or HUL. So product mix consists of the set of all products that an organization offers to its customers. So HUL offers detergents, shampoos, hair care products, cosmetics, beverages, healthcare products, ice creams, and the list goes on and on and on. So HUL is there in pretty much every type of consumer product or fast moving consumer goods that are there. So a product mix consists of all the product mix lines and categories. So it has certain characteristic features like product width, length, and consistency. So if in terms of width, this is the total number of products lines companies carry. So in the initial example that we had considered of Nestle, when we talked about water and we talked about chocolates. So what are the two products? What is the width? It is 2. Okay. So that is an example. In the example that we are looking now at Hindustan Unilever or HUL, detergents is one product line, shampoos is second, hair care products is third, cosmetic fourth, beverages fifth, so on and so forth. So that talks about the width. The next one is the length. The length of the product mix is the total number of items in that mix. The average length of a line is obtained by dividing the total length by the number of lines. So if suppose here we are talking about Hindustan Unilever, if it offers say 10 two detergent types, then how many are there in that particular line? It is two. Shampoos, maybe it carries four variants. So if we were to take only detergents and shampoos, detergents we were talking about an average of two, and shampoos an average of four brands. So what would be the length? The average length would be 6 by 2, that is 3. I hope that is clear to all of you. And then we go to the depth. The depth of the product mix is the assortment of sizes, colors, variations offered for each product in the product line. For example, when we talk in terms of a shampoo, it comes in three volumes: 50 ml, 100 ml, 150 ml. We also see 175 ml, and we also see sachets. So there are multiple variations of the same shampoo that are available for a consumer. The next one is in terms of consistency. Consistency refers to the closeness exhibited by the product lines in production requirements, distribution, end usage, etc. So, if HUL product lines are consistent as they are fast moving consumer goods or FMCGs. So, they are distributed by the same channels of distribution and are produced in similar manufacturing facilities. So, that is why there is a lot of consistency in HUL products. So, if you are buying a shampoo from them, you are pretty sure that over a period of time, the shampoo will have the same consistency as last month or even the previous year, unless the company has deliberately changed, the contents of the shampoo, and they have effectively communicated that to the consumers. Um the consistency remains. So product lines. So we were earlier looking at product mix. Now let us look at product lines. A product mix consists of a number of product lines. So marketers normally develop a basic platform for the product around which additional features and models can be built. So it offers variety in the product and at the same time reduces the production cost. If you were to look at Bata as an example, Bata has a range of approximately 1150 product lines. So Bata offers a wide line of products under the men's range, accounting for 20%, and women's segment accounts for 18% of its total footwear range. So after analyzing the product line, managers need to take decisions about the length of the product line, its modernization, and its pruning. We'll now move to competition and international marketing strategies. So, in terms of the globalization and competition that occurs because of the globalization of markets, this is relatively new. The global marketplace has developed on account of the factors listed below. One is the explosive growth in the world's gross domestic product or GDP, especially in developed countries. Second is rapid expansion in mercantile trade, that is, exports and imports reflecting a new demand for goods from affluent customers. Third is cost cutting and improvement of product quality by companies seeking competitive advantage. That is how they are differentiating and offering better features of products than that of their competitors, and also the revolution in communication technology. We know internet has been instrumental in terms of how we are able to promote our products across different geographic segments. The other significant forces which are responsible for facilitating the rise of great global corporations are growth of large pools of liquid funds and more efficient capital markets to employ them quickly. Second is improved financial, logistics, and business management techniques. So the ease with which technology is transferred globally and we are able to introduce a new product and how it enhances the product development increases at the same time not only the opportunities but also the intensity of global competition, because where there are more opportunities there is obviously more competition, and where there is an ease in performance of taking a product to a global market, similarly other competitors will also follow suit. So companies from United States, Europe, Japan, they are the leading players in a global market, largely. For example, we take companies like Exxon or General Electric, AT&T, General Motors, IBM USA, Toyota, Mitsubishi, so on and so forth. We can also consider automobile players like Honda, like BMW, Audi, Mercedes, Volkswagen, which is from Germany, or Philips, as in lighting and home, solutions from Netherlands, Nestle, into multiple food and related products. Seberg IG, that is into toothpaste, is from Switzerland. Shell, which is Royal Dutch or Shell, which is fuel, etc. So they have become some of the largest players in their respective sectors. So United States, if we consider, they are the leader in IT related products and they retail also accordingly. Japan's strength lies in transport equipment and electronic products, including cameras. So each country has its own set of products where they are able to compete in a global market, and not just be able to compete, but they have also gained a leadership position of the market. So this is where we need to understand factors like adherence to international codes of social responsibility, ethics. Firms also need to consider different strategies such as cost leadership, differentiation, and focus strategies, and how they are able to stand out in the market vis-a-vis their competitors. So, what is this cost leadership? A cost leadership, as the very name indicates, it aims to outperform competitors by offering products or services at a lower cost. This was a strategy which was very, very prevalent in 1970s because of the experience curve concept. So, according to this concept, organizations can achieve overall cost leadership in an industry by using a set of functional policies. So, cost leadership demands construction of efficient scale facilities, tight cost and overhead controls, avoidance of small customer accounts, and minimization of costs in areas such as service, advertising, R&D, sales force, etc. So, high level of managerial commitment is necessary to attain these objectives. Producing and marketing goods at low cost without sacrificing quality is the main of the aim of this strategy. So, Walmart is a good example of a company which uses its international operations to drive down costs and maintain cost leadership, also because of the scale of its very business. So, differentiation. This strategy aims at creating a product or service that is perceived as unique in the marketplace. So, if you are looking in terms of a product that can be differentiated, it can be in terms of design or brand image. For example, if you talk in terms of Mercedes in automobiles, there is a distinct image that is created at the minute we recall Mercedes. Or technology, for example, Macintosh in stereo components, or Coleman in camping equipment, or customer service, Crown Cork and Seal in metal cans, or dealer network, for example, Caterpillar tractor in construction, or features, Gen Air in electric ranges, etc. The third possibility that we have is in terms of the focus. So, a firm focusing on a particular buyer group, segment of the product line, or geographic market is said to be following a focus strategy. They're not all over. They are very, very focused in terms of which market, which product line, which geographic area, which segment of buyers. So, the main difference between the strategies of cost leadership, differentiation, and focus is that while the first two are aimed at total industry, the third is aimed at serving a specific segment of the market. So, we'll also look briefly in terms of consumers. So, who is the consumer? A consumer is a person who buys goods and services for their own needs and not for resale or for use in the production of other goods for resale. This is a very, very important definition of consumer. So, we need to understand it in total clarity. A consumer is one who buys the goods or services for their own needs, for satisfying their own needs or wants. Neither are they sell it to another market, or they're buying this product for use in the production of some other goods for further resale. So, while operating in international markets, a firm must be able to identify similarities between different consumer segments based on demographic characteristics, economic characteristics, or similar interests. So, similarity or homogeneity can be in terms of the needs of the consumer. So, the needs and interests may be the same across different countries, but the size and relative significance of the segment may vary. For example, if you are looking in terms of a washing machine, the needs of a consumer to purchase a washing machine, whether in India or the USA or UK or Japan, will be the same. That means they fundamentally want to use a washing machine to wash clothes. However, the size and relative significance of the segment may vary. That means what is my market size? Second, what is the consumer actually looking at? What is the profile of my consumers? Is there any space constraints? For example, in Japan, where they are very particular about the size of a product and how it fits into smaller homes vis-a-vis other countries. So these are all factors to be considered. So if we were to look at customer segments, customer needs and interests, they need to be homogeneous. That means they need to be similar and they need to be so small that segmenting and serving the different segments with different products would be highly uneconomical. For example, in hair coloring, if the same product fits the needs of women across all age groups, it becomes very, very easy for the company to sell its product. It's fundamentally selling the same product across different age groups. But if customers' demands are different, their taste preferences are different. For example, some countries prefer blonde hair, whereas other countries prefer dark or black hair. Then definitely the company has to understand that the same product cannot sell in different markets. So it has to vary its strategy, that is, in terms of its product offering across these different geographies. So if we were to take food into consideration, the taste preferences are substantially different in different countries and regions. So accordingly, whether we are selling frozen main dishes or microwavable soups, that may differ. Whether we are selling a veg variation or a vegan variation or even a non-veg variation, again, that is also of consideration to a company in terms of how many offerings they have to give across different geographies. So the actions pertain to the regulation of advertising and promotion they are different in different countries. This is something that we have been covering repeatedly in the last few sections classes. For example, in some European countries, government regulates advertising content strictly, particularly in the case of television ads. We have already covered this. So governments of these countries see television primarily as an important educational medium and they try to monitor it carefully. They may have regulations in terms of when the ads can be seen and at what periods in time. For example, in countries like Norway, Sweden, and Switzerland, advertising is not allowed on television. So some other countries limit time available for advertising and determine the type when the commercials are aired. Germany is a good example of this, where the advertisers are allowed to advertise for only 20 minutes between 6 and 8 p.m. That's it. So also in terms of production resources, they are resources meant for actual production of goods. So they include factors like human resources, materials, and machines. Now all three together will help the company produce certain goods and services. So materials are inputs into machines whose desired output is obviously a product. So, when setting up a manufacturing plant, company must consider availability of raw materials, the cost, the nearest location where resources are available, and also the transportation costs, which will help the company decide whether it is worth manufacturing that particular product or not. For example, in Japan, robots are widely used. Automation is also widely used in UK and US. Whereas in India, manpower costs are not high as in developed countries. So automation is not as prevalent as we can see in some other countries in the manufacturing process. So planning and third world markets. Most third world markets face shortage of goods and services. This calls for expanding production in these countries. There is also need for marketing activity to identify and fulfill the needs and wants of people. There's also an untapped market that can be employed by international firms. Nigeria, for example, has abundant natural resources, so MNCs may consider, setting up operations there, both in terms of manufacturing and selling, and also using it as base to cater to other countries, taking advantage of the abundant material or natural resources that Nigeria has to offer. So, controlling the marketing effort is a final consideration for today's uh, session. So, what does this controlling mean? It means two things. One is monitoring, and second is evaluating. So, what are we monitoring and what are we evaluating? Controlling is the process of monitoring and evaluating the implementation of a chosen strategy. So we have decided on a certain strategy, whether it's in terms of product, it is in terms of product line, in terms of product width, terms of product mix, pricing, distribution, processes, distribution channels, etc. How we are going to advertise our products and promote our products. So these are all the strategies that we have considered. So controlling means monitoring and evaluating the implementation of these strategies, because it is not enough to just make strategies on paper. They need to be implemented, and they need to be constantly monitored and evaluated and corrected where necessary. So the control process involves three steps. First is establishing standards itself. Second is measuring performance against the standards. And third is correcting deviations from standards and plans. So establishing standards is an important part of control process. And what are standards? They are standards for certain benchmarks. They are used to influence human relations and effectiveness of corporate control. So standards are effective when they are clearly defined and when they are accepted by the people for whom they are meant. So here the management has to set appropriate standards. It cannot randomly take care of anything and say that this is a standard. It has to set standards which are tested over a period in time. And what is the purpose of this? Setting up these standards. It is to improve marketing performance and monitor actual performance against the standards. So, to meet corporate goals, the management must connect the performance whenever it deviates from a set of standards. So, this is fundamentally what we have been talking about in today's session. So, finally, in terms of the summary, what we have covered so far is a marketing planning process, and it concerns identifying what products are sold and to whom sales are made, and in the long run. What is the very purpose of this marketing planning? To meet certain sales targets. And while these marketing plannings are in existence, they are differentiated from the forecasting and budgeting systems. So, while forecasting and budgeting systems help address the operational problems of existing business, they cannot be used to indicate suitable avenues for future growth. So, it is a planning process which involves defining the pricing strategy, which is aimed at setting an optimum price. The other point that we have considered is in terms of the product promotion, which consists of primarily for international marketing, advertising, personal selling, and sales promotion. So these are the three things that we consider for international promotion. Publicity is not something that we consider, as it is not as effective and not as possible as in a domestic market. The next one was we also talked in terms of the product life cycle, going through an introduction, growth, maturity, and decline stage. We also talked in terms of product mix and product line and how both are important in establishing a company and adding a value chain to the business. And fundamentally, we also talk in terms of the government regulations, the consumer requirements, competitors' performance, and how a product is differentiated from that of others in a similar line of business. So, with this, we come to the end of today's session. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them. So, thank you and have a wonderful day ahead. We'll catch up in the next class. Thank you.